Hi guys, today's show is about our solar thermal setup, and we've got something really cool being delivered today, which is going to kind of change it. Well, I can't say too much actually. Also, congratulations to us and thank you to you, because we got to 10,000 followers in YouTube or subscribers, and that's just absolutely brilliant. And to celebrate that, we're doing a 10,000 subscriber giveaway where you will have a chance to win a course from us, some of these hats, some t-shirts, there'll be some runners-up prizes. So stick around to the end of the video to find out how to enter. Gemma!
Hello. Hi
Back
guys.
from holiday.
I'm back.
How was it?
The kids had a really good time.
Yeah. Somebody from BBC Radio 4 called. He was supposed to be sending me an email with more details, but he didn't.
Oh, okay.
About the possibility of you taking part in a podcast about heat pumps.
Cool.
But yeah, he was meant to be sending me an email, but it hasn't come
Have you
through
got
yet.
contact details to call?
Oh yeah, I've got a phone number. Roger Bisbee.
All right.
Yeah. He called and he sent an email in as well. He's interested in talking to you and possibly doing a collaboration with you.
Wicked. Okay, cool. Yeah,
And
that's
he
really
said to give him a call back when you can.
good news. Awesome. So we've got something pretty incredible being delivered today. We're under an NDA, so we can't really tell you who makes it or really what it is or how it works. But what I can say is it'll be pretty game changing, hopefully for the industry. So yeah, let's check it out. I've already shown these guys, but I'll show you. So we're getting Project X delivered today, which is 1.5 tons of weight. We got no. We could call it that, but it's not just one of those would normally not weigh 100. It's going there. We've got the MLC, pre-insulated MLC, from there. That needs to be, it's basically flow and return to it. And then there's a cold in and a hot out for hot water. There's a blue pipe taken to there for cold water. And then there'll be another couple of tappings somewhere that we can jump into, or we use these pipes here for flow and return for the little radiator in there. Sure. Don't worry about, maybe just valve off the flow and return for the radiator in there for the moment, because we've got to think about how we're going to control it and time it and stuff like that. So I don't know what height and stuff these tappings are, so we'll need to get the unit here, unpack it, maybe fix the fixings on, measure the heights, and then just bring it round so it looks neat at the correct height and stuff. Okay, cool. So that's what we need to do there, but also we need to join over the pipes where they come in. So the blue comes into there and it's got to go that way, and the flow and return and the pre-insulated goes to down there. Sure. And that needs to join into the pre-insulated there. Can I show you the other bits? When this thing gets up to temperature, we're basically going to So, what have I just asked the guys to do? If you come over to the board, I'll have a quick show. So, I suppose it's best to show you kind of where this idea grew from. This is very much an experiment. I've got to make that clear. We're not expecting people to install this in their homes. There are situations in homes where you'd install something like this, especially well-insulated homes where the heat demand's lower, or variations of this, potentially with ground source storage, which perhaps I'll go into now as well. But this is more of us testing around and playing with stuff for the benefit of education. So bear that in mind, and please don't comment, "Oh, you're not going to put that in a 2-bed semi." No, we're not assuming that at all. This is for educational purposes. Do comment though, because it helps the channel. So by this, I mean solar energy and heating with solar energy. If I show you the very first kind of iteration that we kind of planned, as you may have seen on other episodes, we've got solar thermal tubes outside, which are tubes that take energy from the sun, run it into flow and return pipes, and basically dump that into a cylinder for either hot water or heating to be used whenever it's needed. So the very first iteration of this setup, so this is solar thermal, not solar PV that takes electricity. Solar thermal's taking heat from the sun's energy, run it to this cylinder. Our very first iteration is that this cylinder, which is the cylinder we've got installed out there, it's actually a buffer, has 2 coils in. Actually, 3 coils. So 1 at the top, 2 at the bottom, and the way that we'd kind of planned for this system to work originally was with a backup gas boiler. Now this is definitely a way that you could run this system. If you've got a gas boiler at home, you don't want to have a heat pump, or a heat pump won't work for one reason or another, but you've got a boiler or a combi boiler. This could up your combi boiler output to way higher flow rates than it's can sort of cover at the moment for hot water. And it can mean that you can heat your home with solar thermal energy when it's available in the kind of shoulder months or on a very sunny day in winter. As we do here, you'll see, and we'll link to one of the other episodes, if it's a sunny day in sort of November, December, we turn off the heating here, we just heat from the sun for that whole day. The way that I planned the original sort of installation was we would take the cold pipe that usually fed our boiler, so that's our boiler there. We ran our cold pipe to the bottom coil. You kind of have to do this because for solar thermal to be maximum efficiency, you want to keep this coil as cool as possible, and that way you sort of kind of extract more heat energy from the solar tubes. The solar tubes are more efficient the cooler they are. So that would preheat the cold water inlet a little bit. That would go slightly warmer. That would move up to our top coil, where it would be heated up to, you know, whatever temperature the system was sitting at, and then it could come out. And if that tank still wasn't hot enough, there'd been no solar, you go into your boiler cold water inlet, which is where you normally pipe this cold water pipe to be heated up in the boiler and come out. Remember, this is for combination boilers. That's when you don't normally have a tank, so you would have to make room for a tank to have this kind of very specific and niche setup. This isn't something for everyone. This is just another option. We've got to look at all the different options and ways that we can try and grab efficiency from different areas. There isn't a one box fits all at the moment, unfortunately, for low carbon heating. If your boiler is rated to take a preheated cold inlet, not many are. There's some plastic components in there. They don't want anything too hot getting in there. If it's rated for a preheated cold inlet, you can put preheated cold inlet from your tank and come out and it can go to the hot water tap. If it's rated to, say, it'll take up to 40 degrees, cold water inlet to the boiler, you can also run this cold pipe to here and then put a blending valve in here and just set this to 40 degrees. So it only sends 40 degrees up to there. And then this can either top it up however much it needs to, or you can set this boiler temperature to 40 degrees so it doesn't add gas if it doesn't need to at all. And that way, because it's getting a much higher inlet temperature, instead of running one, possibly 1.5 or 2 showers, you might be able to run 3 showers off that combination boiler. It very much depends on the boiler. So that's how we were going to cover hot water. For heating, we were literally going to take the boiler the boiler return pipe from here and take that from the top of this buffer. So these coils all have their waters in. All the water in surrounding areas in here, that would have all been heating water, the same water that's in the radiators. Radiator water would this would be heated up in this cylinder or buffer, go into the boiler return. If the water coming into the boiler return is hotter than the boiler is trying to target with its flow temperature, the boiler won't fire. It'll just send it out the flow pipe around your radiators, and then after going around your radiators, come back into your bottom of your tank. So in fact, actually, we had a few different tappings for trying out different points of where we'd deliver the return water. Perhaps we want this above this coil. Well, we have got it above that coil on the return, and we've got different heights for this flow temperature. For the return back to the boiler, you might want to take it from below this coil to ensure that you've got enough hot water store in the top here, or you could put a blending valve in this T section here if you join these two pipes together. There's lots of different ways to do this. It's kind of complicated. I'm trying to keep it light and simple for the sake of this video. And the idea is, when you've not got any hot water demand, you'll still heat up this tank. If you've got heating coming on, it'll feed into the boiler, round your radiators. Boiler will top it up if it needs to, and not if it won't. So that's kind of the original kind of plan. And that would give you free hot water all summer pretty much, and assist your heating in the shoulder months. From there, we got carried away because we wanted to experiment and play because we're heat geeks. And we want to put a much bigger solar tube array in. So we put like 2 or 3 times bigger than we need to. If we put 2-3 times bigger than we need much more storage. So we also got a heat pump. So the way we've kind of piped this up at the moment is kind of temporary, I suppose. we've got the main store out there, the buffer, which is being heated from the solar tubes. When that's up to 40 degrees, it will pump around the radiators if there's a demand for heating. If there's not above 40 degrees, which is our design temperature for the system now, it sends power over to the heat pump, which will heat the rest of the system. The heat pump doesn't heat the buffer, only the solar thermal heats the buffer, so that's important. And here's what we're doing now with the storage. We've gone a bit crazy. So with solar thermal tubes or solar thermal flat plates, because you get tubes or plates, you can prioritize what you're going to heat. So you can have two stores. So let's say we've got a diverter valve, bunny shaped diverter valve. We can have a hot water store or a buffer. And you can say to the solar pumping station, okay, let's actually explain what a solar pumping station is. A solar pumping station is a pump that turns on the pump from the solar tubes when the sensor down here, which feeds back to the pumping station, is below the temperature in these tubes. So it's always measuring the temperature here and temperature there. If this is hotter than that, it turns on pump and heats up the store, whizzes around the store, comes back. Once that's up to temperature, or they match temperatures, it turns off. You normally leave a little 5 degree, sort of 5 to 8 degrees temperature. That's got to be above that typically before it turns on the pump, to give it enough momentum to get going. What you can also do is have another store with another sensor going off, and you can say, okay, this is actually a DT controller, although it's called a solar pumping station. It's also called a DT pumping station, and because it's just measuring the DT or temperature difference between different points and turning on and off pumps or diverters depending on the temperature differences. So what I mean by that is you can say, sense this temperature over here. If this is below that temperature, heat up this first, this store here first. Once that's up to temperature, then heat this up and move this diverter valve over, so you're only heating this one or this one, and you can prioritize two different stores. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to have a hot water store here, a sun amp. We've got that here, we just haven't plumbed it in. So we're going to have a sun amp is phase change technology. They are, it stores a very high amount of thermal energy in a very small amount of space due to phase change, the absorption and heat release, or latent heat release involved in phase change. Another video about that, I think. And it will heat this sun amp heat battery first, which is where our hot water will now come from. So hot water is now going to come from the sun amp. That can be the hot water back out. Hot water. And the heating is still going to be done from our buffer, which has one coil in, which is now going to be decommissioned, and another coil in here. However, when this tank, because we've got lots of storage here, gets up to temperature, we're installing another DT controller that's going to say, okay, this buffer's up to temperature, it's getting too hot, it's up to 85 degrees or something like that. We're never going to need that in the building, or 70, I'm not too sure what temperature yet. Pump it out to our external storage, and we've buried a load of pipework underneath the garage. You may have seen in other episodes. It runs through our car park out to the garage. It'll go under the car park, out to our external heat storage, where it'll get stored in Project X. So we're not allowed to say what that is. So this stores, and if that tank ever drops below this tank, we can just turn the pump back on and pump it back to the original tank, and that's the whole idea. So it's storing elsewhere, shifting the load to somewhere else, and it's storing it back. Interestingly, just to make it more complicated, because why not? It's Heat Geek. This is also going to do our hot water for we've got a gym and a garage, a gym and a bathroom and shower out there for the staff that want to use the gym. So this has also got a cold water inlet, which can then be taken to the showers. So yeah, once this is up to temperature, it will then pump back to the original store. That's kind of an overview. Just to add even more complexity, we've also got solar PV on the roof and out the front here. That goes to an eddy, which also dumps in here, this coil and this coil. Our eddy heats the top coil first to get this up to hot water temperatures. Then once that's up to temperature, our eddy, remember eddy is moving electrical energy, turning it into heat. It then moves over to this immersion heater down here and heats up the rest to a slightly lower temperature. And that same energy will be stored out here and back here again. This is kind of where we're going with the project. It's all a big experiment, very little calculation gone in, very much rule of thumb. Because to be quite honest, we're putting it in to measure it to find out what better rules of thumb and what better calculations work in reality versus working things out theoretically and finding out it's nowhere near. So all of this is going to be measured with our open energy monitoring system that you may have seen in a previous episode. And yeah, that's just a quick sort of overview of what we're doing.
5 minutes later.
Gemma's very slightly
Yeah?
deaf. What's the ETA?
Between 2 and 3.
Between 2 and 3. Between 2 and 3. Thank you. She didn't hear that.
So yeah, just ultimately it needs to go into that garage over there. So I don't know if you think it's possible to. Okay.
Because I'm lifting this down, Dave, yeah?
So you put it on my back?
This thing weighs 1.5 tons. Project X is ready to be installed. You're not allowed to see us de-rope her. And that's as much as you can see. I want to say thank you so much to everyone for getting us to 10,000 YouTube subscribers. And to celebrate that, we're giving a giveaway. We're going to give an awakening training course to one of our subscribers and also some hats and some t-shirts and stuff like that to run us up. So if you want to be in with a chance to win a hat and or training course or t-shirts, click on the link below where you have to subscribe to the channel and make a comment in the comment section, and you'll be in with a chance. You'll also be in a chance for our super duper big 20k subscriber giveaway, which we'll tell you more about through the next sort of few episodes. Okay, let's crack on. We are so excited to be facilitating exclusive training for the next generation of heating masters. The Heat Geek courses are designed to take you from heating installer to heating god, with the ability to design hydronic systems from scratch, massively increasing your value as a heating engineer and earn yourself a recognized certification. Let us teach you the skills you need to charge more for your services and future-proof your career.